I know that put everybody in a good mood. Welcome back to our morning show with me and Alex. Look at that smile on his face. Just an artist, just having glee in his own work. Good morning to you, Alex. How are you?
Good morning, brother. Good to see you, man. We got a ton to get to today. We're gonna be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Omar, whether Catch is gonna be cool with this. You've said Catch is fine with it. You've said he's fine as far as us doing the buy or sell stuff. So we have a whole grip.
He doesn't have the mark. He hasn't cornered the market on the on
I
the
don't
face
know.
buy or sell. He doesn't have copyright on it.
People get tilted over to random things. You never know, Omar. You never know.
I've been doing buy or sell on this show for a while. Like
okay. So that's what I'm saying. I think we have the all clear. So, but a bunch of topics on the old buy or sell to get to today. We're going to talk about Jaydon Blue versus CJ Baxter. Gosh, we have stuff about, comparing what's going to be happening in the 2025 NFL draft, what's going to be going on in 2024 as we continue to preview next week at the NFL Combine. Is Texas the best job in college football? We've been talking about it all week. We're going to talk about that. It's everything. Is spaghetti the best dinner for kids? Can Onwar name any Seattle grunge bands? There's too much to get to. Okay. You didn't know you're getting into that. What do you think, man? Do you got anything you want to kick it off with? Do you want to say what's up to the chat, or do you want to just get right into it?
Yeah, hey, what's up to the chat? Who was first in the chat today, Alex? Do you know who was the first person in there?
It looks like Chris N. Congratulations,
Chris Nelson. Okay, you usually says no. Congratulations to you, Chris Nelson, for being number. Who got silver? Who got bronze?
We got Sam. We got Sandman, of course. Sandman. It's drunk as hell. Chris Bennett, just another fragrance reviewer. Money B, of course, man. Dale Coleman, Brandon Wyckoff, Lamar Carper, all you guys, man. Thanks, Cody Carpentier's in here, Alan Fruge, just the whole crew, man. So
are you and Cody? Are you and Cody like rooming together in Indy?
Yeah, we got an Airbnb.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
Yeah, it was. It's gonna be us and this other dude, Maddie from Player Profiler is gonna stay with us. I think Cody, is Maddie still staying with us? I think he's staying with us too. But we'll have plenty of space. We're staying right there downtown.
Sweet. All right. Well, man, I'm ready to get this party started because I know we got a ton of questions.
Buy or sell? We're ripping it right off, man. It's fun as hell.
All right, I got a buy or sell question for you. So you guys know, Alex has about 10 buy or sell questions for me. I've got about 10 buy or sell questions for him. That's 20 buy or sells. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them today, but we're going to try our darnest and see what happens. But it is the kind of the show title, Alex, and I think it's going to be interesting because you and I have had some conversations on this. But my buy or sell question to you, my first one is, Jaydon Blue should be the day one starter with CJ Baxter as his backup. Alex, you going to buy or sell on that one?
Well, it's weird because I have a similar buy or sell that we're going to get to. Not exactly this, but it pertains to the whole thing about Sark's streak of 1,000-yard rushers, right? And whenever I just think about a starter, right? And here's the thing, man. This is it does kind of. I mean, I think about everything through a kind of football spectrum and an evaluation spectrum and stuff like that. But in so many ways, my work at Orange Bloods really coincides with my work I do with the NFL stuff, coincides with the work that we do in recruiting and all the rest of it, right? You just learn how these trends can happen throughout football. And it just feels like one of the ones right now, I'm becoming a little bit less worried about running backs that weigh less than 205, 206, 207 pounds. That used to be my kind of, I used to call it the old like Trey Mason Dixon line, right? It's like you got to be above this one where it's about a Trey Mason, Devontae Freeman, Christian McCaffrey, that kind of weight, right? 203 to 207. If you're above that, you're good. It feels to me now with these dudes coming in and you got guys like the Devon Achans recently and Jahmyr Gibbs and these types of players, right? That if they weigh 190, 195, you don't necessarily think it's going to be the death of them, right? You got a guy like Raheem Mostert who's undersized, and he's the NFL, touchdown scoring king. So I don't think that necessarily. I'm not going to take Jaydon Blue's size and say that keeps him from being a volume or keeps him from being a lead back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd be a lead back nowadays as sort of the pass catching, dynamic, slashing back. And there's the short yardage back who might kind of be more of a 1B, even though he's sort of the traditional starter between the tackles. And I think that's the way that I see CJ Baxter. But I do think that Jaydon Blue has enough talent to take on more of an RB1 role from a pure usage perspective, but maybe not from a starting perspective. I just for some reason, man, and I'd be interested to hear how you feel about it. So I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna sell this. But because I think that CJ Baxter runs out there with the first team on the first play, and I think he starts. But I think we could see Jaydon Blue utilized more than CJ Baxter, which leads me to wonder, it's like, well, who's going to be the 1,000-yard rusher this year? Who's going to keep Sark's streak alive? But
Well,
I'd be interested to hear about,
well, I mean, what's interesting, Alex, in the conversation is just if we just go, yards per carry, Jaydon Blue averaged 6.1, CJ Baxter averaged 4.8, right?
4.9. What was it? 4.8?
4.8 according to the UT website that I'm looking at right now. So this is straight off of their website. So 6.1 versus 4.8. Jaydon Blue, with 65 carries for 398. CJ Baxter, Alex, at 138 carries, so double what he has at 659.
Jaydon Blue never had more than 10 carries in a game, did he?
I don't have the yards pulled up per game. I don't. It may be later in the year, but I don't have that in front of me. I don't have his yards. Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So Jaydon Blue. Yeah, the most he ever rushed for was 10 in a game. He had 10 versus Rice, which mop up duty kind of stuff. 10 versus Tech, mop up duty stuff. 10 versus Oklahoma State, mop up duty stuff. So, and by the end, he was getting played a lot more. But it's when you look at it, it's the like down the stretch, it was more the receptions. Yeah. The last 4 games of the year, 4 receptions versus Iowa State, 2 versus Texas Tech, 3 versus Oklahoma State, 4 versus Washington. Getting involved with that kind of, I'd be interested to see what his target shares were in those games. So if you look just down the stretch, I think I have target share per game split out here. So let's see. Okay, so Jaydon Blue in those last games was oh gosh. Well, I guess I only have it for the last 2 of the regular season. I didn't chart target share per game for the Big 12 championship or for the playoff because that doesn't go into the deep dig. Mm-hmm. But it's still a 12% target share versus Iowa State and a 7.14% target share versus Texas Tech. That's an average of 9.5% target share. Dude, that's a big time. That's a good college target share for a receiving running back. I think that's how he's going to be used, man. I just do. I think.
By the way, Alex, for those who may be new to the show and aren't on Orange Bloods, can you maybe explain to them what the target share number means?
Oh, it's just a percentage of team targets. It's a percentage of total team targets. And so if you're a super target hog wide receiver in the NFL, you're going to have like a 30, like that's a Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill or something. You'd be like a 30% target share type of guy. It means 30% of the team's targets through the air are going to you, right? At Texas, the target share leader was Xavier Worthy. He had a 28.22% target share on the course of the entire season. A.D. Mitchell was second with a 19% target share. So at the NFL level, like just say for fantasy football, you don't want to play guys in fantasy football that are wide receivers that have anything less than a 19 to 20% target share because they just aren't going to get the volume. But when you're prospecting running backs coming out, you start getting to that 10% team target share at the college level, and you say, oh man, we're cooking with grease about a guy that could really help out as a receiving running back at the next level. And I think that's how Jaydon Blue will continue to get used. So with that being said, I think he might be the more effective running back next year, but I still think that Sark just loves CJ Baxter so much. I think he's just going to start that guy.
It was the starting running back last season. I mean, when it's all said and done, like the Jonathan Brooks thing kind of happens not by plan. It just so happens that CJ Baxter gets banged up early in the year. They go to Jonathan Brooks, who was the backup running back, and then he rushes for over 1,000. But it wasn't like, hey, they said at the beginning of the year, that's our number one guy, and CJ Baxter's the number 2 guy. They said CJ Baxter was the number 1 guy. Brooks comes off the bench, like I said, it gets banged up. It reminds me a little bit of the Chris Warren, Deontay Foreman thing, where all of a sudden, Chris Warren gets banged up, can't play, and then all of a sudden you have a Doak Walker winner, when it's all said, they're like, oh, snap. And it's like,
I always knew.
Did. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, you get credit, but, I don't know.
No, man. Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. I thought that CJ, we can get off this subject and go to the next, but let me just say this. I do think that CJ Baxter, I think he probably was kind of hurt or something last year, because there were times like and we'll see whether it was just Jonathan Blue or whether it was Jonathan Brooks just being so good with his vision, but it just didn't seem like Baxter, hit the holes or hit the zone lanes with the same kind of vision that Jonathan Brooks did, and that ability to navigate. Even Trey Wisner, whenever he got in there, had some really good decisive vision. So we'll see what happens with the rest of that. So am I throwing up then? I think we had a super chat.
Up to you.
I think we had a super chat. Let's see. Yeah. Super chat. James S. Thank you, brother. Let me hear y'all's realistic ceiling for both Blue and CJ in college. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thanks to everybody in the Specs chat line. You can leave your questions there, or you can super chat us, and we'll try and bring them right back up. But certainly appreciate that, James S. Do you want to? I think we kind of went over it. I think we kind of answered this question.
So what's the ceiling for you? I mean, is Doak Walker the ceiling? Is it?
I don't think either of those guys is a Doak Walker winner.
Now, I think, in college, I think, either one, they get to maybe 1,200 yards. I think it would probably be pretty good. 1,300 if all goes well. But it may be a day 2 pick if all goes well for one of those guys. But
yeah, I think that's right. I think that's exactly right.
Yeah, I think that's the ceiling for them. Which is, by the way, not a bad ceiling by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay. Alex is buy or sell. Caleb Williams doesn't even need an agent right now. So here's the story. So the story came out last night, I believe, on Pro Football Talk, that it's looking like Caleb Williams is not going to be hiring an agent to negotiate his first his NFL contract. Now, the question now is, I don't have, and it's still just a report, right? We haven't heard directly from him. I'm sure he'll get asked about it at the combine, but I think it's an interesting discussion. Do you buy or sell that he doesn't need an agent?
Sell. There's a saying, I think, in the legal world that says the man who represents himself has a client for a fool. And so.
Cool. A client.
Yeah,
that's a little deep, man. Yeah,
I know a lot of different things, Alex. It's a dumb move by him, because that sounds like a guy who's simply thinking, well, you know what? I know where I'm going to get slotted. So if I know where I'm slotted, then it's easy for me to understand like when I'm going to get paid.
Just take Bryce Young's contract and put Caleb Williams in there instead of Bryce Young, and put Chicago Bears instead of Carolina Panthers.
But that's as you know, that's only one portion of what an agent does. Like right. And an agent is talking to teams, feeling them out, right? Trade up, trade down. There's also agents who, they're like, hey, I'm trying to get other guys with you on the team. I think something like that, honestly, will scare away some teams, just because it's going to seem a little prima donna-ish. I mean, how do you negotiate with this guy in the future? Why do you negotiate trades or anything to that effect? Hey man, we're thinking about trading you. What? Like how do you put out feelers for these kind of things? How do you put out feelers? How do you know where in the first round you will or will not go? We're thinking about bringing, like, all the conversations that, as you know, that agents have in the Senior Bowl, that agents have in the combine, that agents have at pro days. All the things, the communications that they have with general managers in the front office. He won't be able to do that, not as a guy representing himself. So if he's thinking about the narrow-minded focus of it's just about where I get slotted, sure. But this shows he doesn't understand what an agent really does in all the conversations that an agent has to have before you're drafted with a team. And because of that, I think it's a dumb move on his part, because he's very narrow-minded in his focus.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think I mean, it's 3%. You're making a lot of money. I think your agent does a whole lot for you. Like he's probably going to hire somebody who does his like, who's like his manager, right? That does his
Yeah.
helps him with the marketing or helps him with making sure the contracts are okay for his commercials and stuff. But I mean, you wouldn't even need to hire that guy if you just had the agent. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And people are talking about in the chat. What's up to Cody Clearman? He's saying that how realistic in 5 years we see Caleb Williams as the pioneer in this, and I mean that makes sense.
We've seen guys represent
We've
themselves
seen.
before.
I mean, look at Lamar Jackson. He just had the whole
Yeah.
holdout with the Ravens, and he got it done on his own. I think, it's just there's just stuff that they can put in there where it's like it's more about your second contract, where it's like, well, this thing actually vests on the first day before the new league year, and so for on that reason, your guarantees become void if you were injured before the last day of the previous new league year, and you're just like as a player, you're just like, what new league year? Like void the. So I think it's probably more important for a second contract, but even Lamar Jackson was able to navigate a second contract with this, so we'll see.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it. There's just certain things. I mean, would you go into the music industry and not have anybody representing you?
I would have loved to never have Disney as a record label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you love to play an advisor who would have told you never to sign that contract?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. We wouldn't have had the success that we did without Disney's backing, but it's golly, man, it's a two-edged sword for sure.
All right. I got one for you, Alex. Here, this is going to be a tougher one, Alex. Okay, it's going to be a tougher one here, but this is going to be a buy or sell. We're going to go into a little dangerous territory. You can tread as lightly or as much as you want to. Buy or sell. The late Travis football peanut incident is being overblown.
Well, as you guys see right back here, man, I got beautiful Lake Travis in my background. I now live in Lake Travis. My kids are LTISD. On the far-flung reaches of it, my kids won't go to Lake Travis High School. They're building a new high school out here where I live in Spicewood. But still in the district, so still hear a lot of stuff about this stuff. And dude, this has been brewing since like I remember I was talking with my neighbors on Halloween. We were going out with them and their kids. And we were having this conversation back then on Halloween, about how this thing was going to go. So is it being overblown? No, I don't think it's being overblown because and you know me. I mean, you know me. You know my personality. I'm the last guy to ever say, dude. I think people take crap too seriously, and I'm just like, man, why is everybody all up in their feelings these days? And everybody's got to be so, you got to have these vulnerability meetings and account and I think it's a bunch of frou, but it's fine. People can do what they want to do. So I'm just saying this comes from somebody who's generally would say like, hey, man, let boys be boys, like all the rest of that stuff. I just say, man, you got a parent, and you hear with the parent's testimony, and just like the kid could really get hurt real bad by this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, I don't think it's overblown when you're trying to protect somebody's life. I mean, so you know what I'm saying? So like, that's how I see it. I don't think it's overblown. I think it's a kind of messed up deal. I don't think Lake Travis handled it very well. And I know what people say is they'll talk about, why didn't the Lake Travis ISD Police Department have anything to say about this? Or if they didn't find them guilty, then what? Look, let me tell you, it's not like the Lake Travis ISD Police Department's a bunch of Columbos around here. I mean, this is not. These dudes, we passed a bond probably a year and a half ago, maybe what it was, to have armed resource officers in all of our schools for all the school students for all the schools, and like my daughter's school, right? And my son's it's like the armed resource officer is this cool dude, but like his daughter's a third grader. He's a cop from Travis County, wanted to be around his kid more, I guess. And so he's just there. He guards the school. He does flag duty, stuff like this, right? This is not some, this is no Sherlock Holmes. Like they're not going to get these guys all on a case and go. It's like that wasn't the function of the police department in this case. So, I think that I think it needs to be litigated on its own and stuff like that. But I don't think it's overblown when you're taking like if they would have sprayed his locker with shaving cream, I just said, well, that's good old fashioned fun, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
care, but I think that this is something that needs to be certainly looked into and taken seriously when you're talking about like the actual real life health or life or death stuff, allegedly with a possible teammate.
Well, here's the thing, Alex. As a parent, and you're not parents, and you just put it like, if you think of your child for a second, and your child was going through it, you probably have the same reaction as that parent, right? Just you probably think, okay, I'm unleashing holy hell. You just think I just view it as a parent point of view, right? Whether right, wrong, or indifferent, right? I'm not taking the sides or anything. I'm just saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I understand like certain things happen at daycares and some guys bite. Yeah, is it the end of the world when some kid is biting your kid in daycare? No, it's not the end of the world, but you still say have a conversation with the daycare and
Still
like,
don't
hey
like
man,
it. Yeah.
hey, this kid's biting a freaking kid. Like, hey, like he's got bite marks and stuff on here. He's bleeding. Like, hey, can you go ahead and take care of that? So we all, I think there's just a natural thing that parents have, and I think we got to understand that. But I honestly, Alex, I know we're doing a back and forth right exchange, but I want to actually do a follow up buy or sell. Let's kind of throw this at you. And this is really a buy or sell here as relates to that, but maybe just a different degree. Should all forms of locker room hazing, and I'm talking about high school or anything like that, buy or sell, all forms of locker room hazing should be eliminated.
No, I mean this is gonna be wildly unpopular and maybe cancelable. But I don't think that growing up in society as a young man playing sports or I guess as a young lady, I don't have any experience with that. But people are always gonna pick on each other and stuff, poke at each other and stuff. Is that hazing?
We didn't grow up with the word bullying, but such as the times, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's kind of part of I think it's kind of part of growing up and being in a tribe and stuff like that. It's like thing, to me, honestly, I don't know if I'm good friends with somebody until we can pick on each other and mess with each other and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't know if you're close with anybody until you can start doing that stuff.
You never
So
know. You never know if you're a good friend until you can actually tie them to a goalpost, and then like at that point, you are my buddy, right?
yeah, I don't think that I'm not necessarily like there's some tying him to the goalpost. Yeah, I mean, I think that a coach could say like none of that kind of stuff's allowed, but I think that you know, I think that when you say all forms of hazing, should they in a perfect world? Maybe. Will they? Just no. I just don't think it like that's just human nature. I think it should be eliminated. I don't think that people should be shoving kids in lockers and locking them up and saying stuff like that. That stuff's pretty ridiculous.
You play,
But
Alex. You played sports. Obviously, you played in high school. What were some of the things that was done that you remember in the locker room? Right, because there's a lot of people in the chats who play sport. I'm sure they have all kinds of crazy stories. I see
yeah,
people
man. I
talking
mean, like the Lake
teabagging
Travis,
and
like
stuff
nothing
like
like
that.
the Lake Travis thing. But I played it. I played at Westlake. We were state champs. I was always, um, at least mentioned at least as an honorable mention for all district and stuff. So I mean, I've played at big Texas high school program. Um, I the stuff that would happen, yeah, it would more just be kind of like stuff like throwing all the empty Gatorade bottles in someone's locker and they open their locker and all the Gatorade bottles, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. There were often times wherever I remember when I was on JV, what sucked the most, we were in the locker room over, and if the JV would have to go scout team versus the varsity in practice. And if you went scout team all-star on one of these guys and, you gave one of the varsity guys a hard time, sometimes they'd come over into the JV locker room and do, shove you around and stuff like that. So that was never much fun. But yeah, it's just like, it's kind of like people are saying in the chat, man. I mean, everybody's been through. It's like, yeah, like the old icy hot in the jack strap, in the jock strap. That's what Cody Clearman's saying. Filling up the locker with water bottles or packing peanuts, not literal peanuts that you could be allergic to,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
little styrofoam ones, just stuff like that. I guess the thing was when I was in high school, Drew Brees was our quarterback, and he had told us before that state championship run that there wasn't going to be any Drew Brees said, look, man, nobody what was it? It was no going to parties, no drinking any alcohol, and no sugary drinks and no sodas. And if I hear any of you breaking any of these rules, I'm going to handle punishment personally. Right? We're going out to win state. So we had a leader in the locker room that wasn't going to, like, if there was a bunch of hijinks like that, Drew would have just said, "What the hell are you guys doing? Like, your eyes are completely off the prize." He's been a he's been a cyborg his whole life, kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't it was never really a giant. I don't know how other people's experiences were, but for us, it was just a bunch of just a bunch of horseplay, jacking around, stuff like that.
All right. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, that didn't end up being a bad conversation as dog. But by the way, I will say this before the last thing in the last 15 seconds. Alex, you have kids that have gone to daycare. I have kids that go to daycare. We've known since they were like one that you can't have peanuts anywhere. I mean, just peanuts that haven't been allowed in daycares and not allowed in schools. I think
you know what? For me, it didn't become a thing until they got to their it wasn't a thing in their Montessori school or at their farm school. They went to farm school, then they went to Montessori school, which were more kind of they don't really ask many questions about stuff. They don't do that. They just never really did it. When we got to Lake Travis schools, all of a sudden we were just like, oh God, like make sure this doesn't have a peanut. Like there's a peanut kid in this class. Like it's just, I mean, it's
so I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think if you have kids in today's society, everybody knows if you have a party, don't bring no peanuts, this and that. I don't know where peanut allergies came from. I don't know.
I don't remember much when I was a kid. Do you?
I never knew a kid had one. And maybe, I don't know, maybe something happened to that kid and technology, but I never.
I don't know.
I never heard of it until.
That's a good point. I've never really heard
I didn't grow up with that.
Why have I never thought of this? It's true.
Yeah, only since I started that I sent my kids to daycare did I hear about this thing. I've never heard of it before. Never heard of it. So only over the last like 8 or 7 years. So it is what it is. All right, we can leave the nuts alone. But we can do another one.
All right. So do I do 2 now in a row since you did 2 in a row?
You don't have to. I just wanted to. I wanted to do a follow up since we were on topic, just so so we don't have to go back and forth.
Gosh, these are so good. Okay. All right. If the secondary buy or sell, if the secondary does not improve, if the secondary play does not improve in 2024, coaching staff changes will be made for 20.
Oh damn! I have one that's similar to this one too for you.
Okay.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. We're on the same wavelength in a weird way. I'm gonna buy on this one. I'm gonna buy on this one because we're at the point now. When we look at, and I know you have the stats, Alex, to prove more things. Because one of my questions for you is going to be more about the Terry Joseph, Blake Gideon kind of thing. But I think we're at the point now, like we've said, okay, Pete K, you're doing what you need to do. You've got an extension. So Pete Kwiatkowski, good to go. But that secondary, if you bring in a Makuba and they struggle, we don't see improvement in the safety or the defensive backs. Like at some point, when you're talking about competing week in and week out in the SEC, that pass defense, Alex, was one of the worst in the country last year. If I'm correct, I think they were ranked 110th in the country. I don't have that in front of me, but I feel like that's pretty close to where they were. And that pass defense was just not good. We saw the kind of fruits of that in that Washington game where, I mean, sure, Penix is good, right? But Penix looked, it was ridiculous what he was doing. And we didn't see that from him in the following week, so it was basically against this secondary where you had those problems. So yeah, like there was too many communication breakdowns. We hear about that all the time. Like at some point, you can replace as many players as you want to. At some point, you'll have to find coaches that can communicate more effectively so kids will listen. So 100% buy. If we don't see this thing, I mean, again, it was in the hundreds like that. There's no way that's acceptable going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, Ben G's in the chat saying Texas also had no rush, and I get that. I've talked a whole lot about how the pass rush next year should have just a inherent effect on what's going to be happening on the back end. And when you stack that with the fact that there is more talent coming in, right? You stack that with the fact that some of the, I hate to say, Keaton Crawford wasn't good, and he's gone, but he was definitely a part of that. I mean, how often did you look out there and see number 21? You saw him a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Jaron Thompson wasn't very good, and you saw him a lot, right? Michael Taft was better than both those guys. Derek Williams certainly better than both those guys. Now you bring in a Makuba, Xavier Filson, he comes in. Who knows if he has a Derek Williams like impact? It's like all of a sudden you're just like, well, no worries about what And you could have a substitution safety group there. Don't even get me started on the difference with like Ryan Watts is in. I'm about to put up a column on Orange. Ryan Watts is getting ready to go to the combine after a week at the Shrine Bowl where he didn't even get to play corner. He had to play safety. They think he's too slow. So new player. The new players coming in, the better pass rush. It's like there can't be another situation again where they say that the linebackers were running a different coverage than the secondary and stuff. That kind of stuff just can't happen. And Terry Joseph is the defensive passing game coordinator, I think. Right? Isn't that the title? Let me let me make sure that's right. Let me make sure that's right.
One of the many cockamamie titles that we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, but I think that's actually his title, Texas College Coaches. I want to make sure that that's right, though.
Yeah, that's what he has on his Twitter and on it here: defensive passing game coordinator and secondary.
I mean, so it's kind of like, well, it's like you're coordinating the defense of the passing game. Maybe the DB should be on the same page as the linebackers, unlike they were for the final 4 plays of the Oklahoma game that could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
So,
but Alex, on that line, can I jump into something before we go into like Texas beef traders and specs and everything like that? Same thing, but my question to you kind of just it flows smoothly. Buy or sell, Blake Gideon is under more pressure this season than Terry Joseph.
I think it needs to improve, or I mean, are they really going to scapegoat one of those guys? Are they really going to say Gideon's people love Jim Nagy loves Gideon. Jim Nagy, the director of the Senior Bowl, he says, dude, Sark's put together an awesome staff down there. I mean, he's got Gideon, he's got before he mentions anybody else, So I mean, he's a really well respected dude. I like Blake Gideon personally. But the secondary needs to be better, and the safety play last year was bad, and this year he's going to have all the opportunity in the world. I think Gideon's going to do a good job, right? I do think, unfortunately for him, if the passing defense doesn't get better next season, I think that they're going to have to fire your defensive passing game coordinator, which is Terry Joseph, and I don't think you can fire him without firing Gideon. So, that's the way that I see it. I would hope for both of their sakes, and I'd hope for the sake of the fans and for the Texas football team that it's a moot point. And next year we're all of a sudden looking at like, hey, dude, well, geez, last year we had the 2 top defensive tackles in the nation, and we were the best up front of anybody in the whole world. Well, we weren't quite as good at those 2 positions last year, but look how much better we got on the back end and with our pass rush. Like that. That's the hope, right? That's the hope. So we'll see what happens, but I can't buy it. Or I think they're I think their fates are inexplicably tied to one another, right? I think that they're both under this exact same amount of pressure.
Wow. Okay. Hey, Alex, sometimes when you're under pressure, you need to go to specs, right? I mean, just to go ahead and relieve the pressure. What's your favorite thing about specs, Alex?
Oh, well, I'm going to specs right after this. I'm out of tequila. My favorite thing about specs, besides the low pricing, besides the fact that they have been, how many National Retailer of the Year awards since 1962? They got more rings than Tom Brady and Belichick put together, right? It's just how cheap it is. It's how I know where everything is, no matter what store it is. It's going to be a brand new specs. It's all set up kind of the same. I know where to go. I know where to get my tequila. I know exactly where all the wine varietals are. And it's just the people who work there, just amazing. My specs here at Bee Cave, I tell the story about the old man that checks me out every single time, man. Great people at Specs, best prices. Here's to you. Here's to savings.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
And you know what, Anwar, is as long as we're talking about savings, let's just get the Texas beef traders stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about Texas beef traders. I mean, you took a 10% savings on the best meat that you're ever gonna buy. I'm telling you, Texas beef traders, Black Angus cattle, from the MTX herd in Mason, Texas, processed locally, brought in every week to Texas Beef Traders storefront right there in the heart of Lakeway off of Loman's Crossing. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Look, it's going to be hard for me to convince you how good this meat is. I would just say, if you're on 620, anywhere on 620, stop by Texas Beef Traders. Walk in, meet Darren, meet Shay. Let him give you a beer. Let him show you the place. Sit down, have a talk with them. They're going to tell you everything that you need to know about these cuts of meat. You're going to get a great price on it, cheaper than HEB. You know it's local. You know it's made in America. You know it's vaccine free, hormone free, free range beef, right? And it's going to be cheaper than HEB. And look, if you can't make it out there, look, just call Texas Beef Traders. Talk to Darren. Talk to Shay. They'll just bring it to you. Texas Beef Traders. TexasBeefTraders.com.
Nice. They're looking at their website right now. Ooh, these steaks look good.
Yep.
American meal.
All right. So wait, is it my buy or sell, or is it your buy or sell?
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Okay. Let's see. Which one did I do last? I did the but I thought I did the secondary one. Oh, but you asked one back.
Yeah, and I asked you about the Gideon stuff because it was right online.
Okay. Buy or sell. You'd rather have a recruiting pipeline to Duncanville than Modern Day.
Buy.
California.
Buy.
Okay.
I you know what? Because overall, I think it'll be easier for me to get guys from Duncanville to come to Texas. It'd be easier for me to do unofficial visits from, driving 3 hours into Austin, me getting out to a game on a Friday night, so the constant interactions over the modern day guys. So if you tell me I can have that pipeline for guys that look at the offensive linemen that these people produce out there. I'm not saying that these modern
those people out in Duncanville, man, those far-flung folks.
those guys out there are a different world. I'm not saying modern day doesn't have some guys, but that's just different world. Who's that guy that they have on it? Don't they have a guy that's like 370 or some crazy 380?
Oh gosh, the one kid that they I forget. Well, I mean,
400-pounder or some craziness like that.
I don't know who the current one is, but I mean, Cam Williams is an absolute monster.
Cam Williams is huge.
And, I mean, it's a freak show out there. I think that I think Duncanville is kind of like the modern day of Texas. I think I would buy this too, right? I would buy this too. Okay. What is
I got one for you. I'm gonna go a little lighter on this one before I get back into a sports one. Okay, for you. It's gonna appeal to your music sense and your music taste. Buy or sell, Alex. The Beatles are overrated.
It's probably I just think they're so influential that they can't say that they're overrated. I think that the song "Imagine" is terribly overrated. I think that's a terrible song. A song about telling you to imagine there's no heaven and all this nonsense like that. But so bad. It's like but no, I think that I
never wanted to go out to Abbey Road or something like that, Alex, and do the pose that everyone does.
Look, I think that the Beatles were tremendously influential. They were a major influence on me. They were what my parents had me listen to growing up.
Rodolfo says he can't name 3 songs.
If you heard them, you'd probably know them, though, Rodolfo. I mean, they're just like it, or maybe not. Maybe it was just my life. You couldn't grow up without at least hearing the Beatles all the time. So, yeah, I don't think that they're over. Do I love them as much as everybody else does? No, I don't. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're asking me what band I would want to listen to, I would never be the Beatles. But, dude, you can't deny that they're just. I don't. They're a very, very, very important rock band. You know what I'm saying? Like they're worldwide. They're just very important.
Yeah, I mean, I never really grew up listening to them, so I mean, I can't. I know about them. I know their songs. I've always kind of shoulder shrugged it. To me, it's never been. But I used to work with a guy in Tampa by the name of Roy Cummings. He was he covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with me, and He loved the Beatles, and that's all he would talk about. And he went out there.
Oh, well, they got their stands for sure, man. They got their super fans. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like they're like parrot heads, but like times 12, right? Like they're like. You ever met a parrot head, by the way, Alex?
Yeah, I have. I go to yeah. I mean, because we take trips to this place called Fort Morgan, Alabama, sometimes for our for summer, and that's close by Orange Beach, Alabama. Dude, there's a beautiful stretch. There's a beautiful stretch of Alabama coastline. You probably know about it. You're from Florida, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right there across from Pensacola. There's this place called Orange Beach, and I think that's where Buffett lived, possibly.
Oh.
And he and his daughter has a restaurant there. I think it's like maybe it's called Cheeseburger in Paradise or something. Maybe that's a different one. But anyway, yeah, dude, like there's tons of parrot heads that go there. So we'll always go to the bar and kind of drink with those people and get some food and stuff. There's some they're a wild bunch, man. They are. They like to have some fun.
A lot of hippie butt sweat in that crowd.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of like an older hippie, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of a little bit older, right? But they love the beach. Lots of tan lines, lots of like Mai Tais and what's a beach drink? Like pina coladas and stuff like that. Yeah.
With the pineapple in it and everything.
Yep.
And it listens to the same song over and over and over again. They're just waiting for Margaritaville to come on, and everybody's like, yes, they played Margaritaville. I've heard it for the 100th time this year.
Okay, let's see. I'll go with a little bit of a kind of off-topic one too, before we'll get back to some of this stuff. Okay, buy or sell. You'd rather be attacked in the wild by an alligator than by a mountain lion.
Oh my God.
And there's a lot to take in with this. This was a question actually that I listened to the Meat Eater Trivia podcast yesterday with my kids on the way to jiu-jitsu. And this was actually something where a trivia question was what would the majority of Americans rather be, or the majority of hunters and anglers rather be attacked by? And then they gave some facts on this. And so I'll be able to give you the facts afterwards once you answer it. But I got to give credit to them for the question. But I think there's a lot that goes into it, right? You got to think about, well, if you're being attacked by an alligator, where
if you're in
where are you? Yeah. Like, I don't know. You could just take it away with your own thoughts.
I think I'd rather be attacked by a mountain lion than an alligator, because the alligator, as you know, Alex, usually they do that barrel roll, like flip
like the death fire, or what is it, the death roll or something?
Yeah. So they're literally like, so if they got a hold of your leg or whatever it is, now they're just flinging you around and really like sort of, they're breaking your leg at one point. They're breaking your leg and then or they'll just bring you down under and you're dead at that point, right? So there's a couple of ways that an alligator can kill you. The mountain lion, you have a chance to fight, I think, a little bit. Like, I'm not saying you're going to win, but you might be able to say, like, okay, maybe I could pick up a rock, maybe I've got a knife somewhere on me, because if I'm somewhere where a mountain lion can be, I'm hoping I have I'm thinking of some sort of protection on me.
Yeah.
So the alligator, I think once the alligator gets you, you're done. I think the mountain lion, you would have 5% chance of survival versus an alligator. That's just my thoughts. So I would sell on the alligator and I'd take my chances with a mountain lion.
Let me tell you this. I'm the exact same as you. When this question came up on the pod, I'm like, dude, give me the mountain lion. I think I can wrestle a mountain lion all day. Like, I think if an alligator gets me and gets my leg and tries to do that roly stuff, that roly poly doom, like you're in big trouble, right? And you're probably going to lose a limb. I think with the mountain lion, you stand a chance of maybe getting disemboweled and really having a bad death. But I don't think it's going to be something where you lose where it's a super likely outcome that you're going to end up maybe surviving. But if you do, you've definitely lost a limb. So I think that I would definitely go alligator too. But guess what? The general public says mountain lion. Or the general public says that they would rather get the alligator. And
Wow.
by like 54 to 46%. So I mean, it's pretty well split, but a majority say alligator. And get this, the actual death statistics for these attacks,
Yeah.
based on the 2021 data, only 5.6% of note, or what is it, verified or whatever,
Uh-huh.
reported uh, alligator attacks ended with a fatality, right? Only like 5.6%, but 14.2% of mountain lion cougar attacks ended up with a fatality. So it's actually, if you get attacked by mountain lion, you're 5 times more likely to die, even though it doesn't seem like it. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna try to be in the situation of either, but
Yeah.
but wow, okay, that's deep. All right, I got one for you, Alex. This one I think will stretch your brain a tad bit. Okay, you ready for this one, Alex?
Yep.
Buy or sell. If Kyle Flood coached Tope Amade through 4 seasons, Amade would be in the NFL right now. Buy or sell?
Oh man. Let me look at just where Amadi was and the historical context
Because he
for.
played well that final year under Flood.
Oh gosh. So Tope Amade had only one season where he registered at least 100 snaps on offense. Yeah, it was his super senior season. He played 418 snaps, and he allowed disruption once every 31 snaps. So over the course of the last 75 players at Texas who've had at least 100 snaps on the offensive line, the average snaps per disruption allowed for these players is 29.4. So, and that goes from the worst down here at the bottom at once point every 12.7 snaps for Tristan Nicholson in his junior season. The best would have been once every 57.1 snaps in Trey Hopkins' senior season. It puts, what did I say? It put Amadi at 31. The average is 29.1. He got him to be an average player during his final season at Texas. Amadi didn't move well. Amadi was robotic with his kick slide. I don't think that there's as much natural gifts there to work with. I think that Kyle Flood got the most out of him that he could. And I think he might have gotten him to be a little bit more slightly above average, but that's about where he would have been. I sell that he would have gotten him to be an NFL player.
If in 4 years of 4
Yeah.
years of coaching,
I think with Amadi, he just had physical limitations that would have prohibited it, and I think the Kyle Flood would have had him be would have been doing well to have him play as the average to slightly above average starter that he was in his super senior season.
Interesting. I tell you what, I would love for us to go back in the time machine and see what he was able to do, because I didn't see Christian Jones being that kind of guy where he is.
I mean, it's true, but at least with Christian Jones, we saw his feet and we know he's the ex-soccer player and all this stuff. Amadi had a lot of trouble move. He just didn't move very well. I think that I'm actually surprised that he was at 31 snaps per disruption allowed over 418 total snaps. Like, I would have thought back and be like, man, that's probably more like a 22, 24 snap guy, right? Not a 31 snap guy between every pickup. So, that's just my take on it. I don't think he had the athletic stuff.
Fair enough.
Let's see. One more. Oh gosh, there's a bunch of these. Just one more quick one, okay? Let me hit you with 2 real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Just one quick one. Okay, you can name at least 3 1990s Seattle grunge bands. Buy or sell?
Okay. I'll take this challenge.
Okay.
Okay.
And don't look at chat because they're gonna start typing them in.
No. Well, the thing is that I can name 2. The question is, can I name a third? Okay.
See, I thought the question was always going to be, could you name a 4th? So that's why I put it at
Well, you gotta get the 2 that's easy is Pearl Jam and Nirvana, right? Like
yeah.
Those are staples, right? That's like
I
asking me
that there's a third one that's a staple, but you don't think so?
Hold on. So, wait. What is it? Black Crows. They weren't grunge though, right? They weren't grunge.
Yeah, no, they're kind of more southern rocky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they weren't grunge. There was a wait. Soundgarden, were they grunge?
Yeah, all right. So that's the third one. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Soundgarden.
yeah.
There's
I mean,
Sound.
that was the one that I was going to say. It was the fourth big one that I wasn't sure that you.
Hold
wouldn't
on.
do.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can do another one. Okay, so I got Soundgarden. I got the 3. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to go back in my head to like MTV and think of something I may have seen on that. Because in a weird way, Alex, if you had asked me about like metal bands, I actually would have killed this question. In an odd way, I would have killed this question. Okay, I'm trying to think who else came out. What's such a short era of grunge? I'm trying to think. All right, I know I got Soundgarden. I said the Crows weren't one of them. Damn, who else is there? Shit, I only got 3, man. I only got 3. Give me a couple other.
I think that the number 4 has to be Alice in Chains.
So
So
yeah. What was their hit though? What was their hit?
Oh, like Rooster.
They did the Here Comes the Rooster.
Man in the Box. There's a whole ton of them, man. That whole Dirt record is just filled with them. It's and then they had the Unplugged on MTV they made a bunch of songs famous. The whole Jar of Flies kind of stuff.
Do those guys have cult followings nowadays, or like, is that just kind of a specific time frame and like there's no like reunion tours or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean they do. Well, sadly, man, a lot of those guys are dead. So
Damn,
yeah, I mean Pearl Jam, they still got everybody. Alice in Chains lost their lead singer. Nirvana lost their lead singer. What's the other? And then Soundgarden's lost their Chris Cornell's dead. So
wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Anyway. All right. Let's. Sorry.
All right. How many more?
Each got time for one more, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think. I've got 2 here that I try to decide which one I'll do. All right. Well, this was both are kind of downers, but I'll do this one. All right. Buy or sell. A loss against Oklahoma is worse than a loss against Texas A&M.
This year?
Just from a feeling standpoint, more so than anything else.
Oh. Feelings of fans, kind of, and just like the way you feel.
Like which one has a fan down the longest?
I don't know if this is going to be unpopular, man, but I just when I was a student and right after college and stuff like that, OU, it's always in the back of your mind, man. We could lose this game. That's what I would think going to these games as a student. Going to these games versus A&M, you just say, man, we can't lose this. We can't lose to these guys. These guys are like, gosh, this is going to be bad to lose to these dudes. They're miserable winners, just miserable. For me, it's like losing. There's nothing. It's just losing to A&M is terrible. Like I'm gonna say so. I think a loss to A&M is worse. I don't know if that's right. Like the people in chat probably hate it.
Everyone in chat is with you actually.
Okay.
Like everyone in chat is on us. So people did say it's a good question, but everyone is in the chat is like, no, losing to A&M is way worse than losing to an Oklahoma. So I'm just kind of curious. I wanted to see because this is my first year of having that in one season.
Have you been to Kyle Field though? You've been to Kyle Field?
Never.
Woo, I'm telling you, boy, you're ready for an out of body experience, and not in the good way. Not one of those took a pill and a Ibiza kind of ways, man. Like we're talking about a. Like I always say, man, it's like a fever dream. It's a really weird experience to go into that stadium.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that I don't want to, that I know is sensitive to that fan base, like the the dog being buried, but it's supposed to face the scoreboard or something like that. But
there's their own little scoreboard in that little cemetery for those dogs and stuff. It's
yeah,
really
listen, I love dogs, so I'm not going to go too far on that.
I mean,
I'm not going to go too far on that. The Yell people are very interesting as well. I've never had a chance. I've only
interesting. That's a good way to put it. It's just, wait till you see like the hand signals and different things that the whole crowd does in tandem at the. They're just like what's he doing? You don't even know what any of this stuff is. They actually have to practice. They have a practice the night before for the games. They know what different yells to do. It's insanity, dog. Like
it sounds like. I think I asked Chad. I was like, have there ever been any black Aggie yell guys? And he said that he's seen like one or two. It just reminded me of the movie Get Out. Like I'm just like get out. So. Yeah. All right, what's your last one, Alex?
Was that? So I still have one.
No, I think you said you want to do one apiece. If you're done,
okay, yeah, no, I can still do one. Let's just knock this out. We still have another 3 or 4 minutes. Oh gosh, there's a bunch of them. Do you want an Arch Manning one? Do you want a one about?
I had one Arch Manning for one. Yeah, okay, give me Arch because I had an Arch one for you as well.
Okay,
so we'll end it on Arch.
Buy or sell, you take the over on Arch Manning starting more than 2.5 games in 2024.
Oh my God. This is so crazy. My Arch Manning question to you was he will start at least one game this season. So that's that's a little hilarious. Well, here's the deal. Okay. So Quinn missed 2 last year. He missed how many the previous year? Was it 4? I think 3 or 4.
Or maybe he got knocked out of 1 and then missed 3 more, maybe.
I think he missed 4 weeks because there was a bye in there, but I think he missed 3 games. So he's missed 2, 3. He was hurt for part of his last year of playing high school ball. So the question is, do I think he can go a season without an injury? I'll take the under on it only because I would never want to speak that on a guy. So I would never want to put that in the atmosphere and feel like I was somehow responsible for it. So I'll take the under, knowing that Arch, you better be ready just because anything can happen. And you're only one play away, but I'm taking the under, not on for statistics, more so that I just don't want to put bad juju out there in the air.
That's fair enough. No bad juju allowed. Great show today, man. I don't know if you got anything else you need to get off before you get us out of here, man. But
I'll say what I need to say, and then you can close it out how you want to. Hey guys, just hit like, hit subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow when Alex is going to be previewing the scouting combine because it'll be out there in Indy. So I've asked Alex just to break down everything for at least the top the 11 guys that are there. So get ready for a lot of. We finally have scouting combine talk for Alex to talk about, as opposed to Cameron Dicker or punters or something like that. Like there actually will be some meat on the bone for Alex. So. All that I got to say is live each day like it's your last, because one day it will be. And Alex, you can say what you need to say.
That's it, man. I agree with Anwar. Thank you to the chat. If you guys could please click like, subscribe, we would certainly appreciate it, man. And of course, it wouldn't be a show without you guys. So thanks so much for watching. If you're watching this later, again, like the show, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much to our great sponsors. Thanks to Anwar for Anwar.